Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's continue the poem, Humbriel. I think this is where we stopped. Actually, his wife was complaining that he cannot speak. He cannot speak to women, and at that time, her husband was saying like maybe she can teach him. She says, "Help me." Then maybe she can help him to do the same. At the same time, she was also trying to escape from him. She was trying to get out of the house, but he was always forcing her to stay, to remain. That's where we stopped. So now let's continue the next paragraph. Let's go to the next stanza. My words are nearly always an offense. I don't know how to speak of anything so as to please you. But I might be taught, I should suppose. I can't say I see how. A man must partly give up being a man with women folk. We could have some arrangement by which I would bind myself to keep hands of anything special your mind to name. Though I don't like such things, twixt those that love. Two that don't love can live together with them, without them. But two that do can't live together with them. She moved the latch a little. Don't go. Don't carry it to someone else this time. Okay, here. So the husband says that my words are nearly always an offense. So he is kind of admitting. In the next line, you can see that. I don't know how to speak of anything so as to please you. He thinks like he is not able to talk anything so that he can please her. He is unable to please her. And always when he says something, it becomes an offense. Somehow he offends her. That's what he thinks. But I might be taught. So he says that maybe someone can teach him, and maybe I might be taught. Someone can teach him, I should suppose. He thinks like that. But I can't say I see how, but he is not sure whether it is possible. He is not sure how can this be done. But still he thinks that he can be taught the same. Somebody can teach him. The next word he says, a man must partly give up being a man with women folk. He's making a general statement here. A man generally has to give up his manly behavior in front of a woman to successfully convey his message to a woman. He must have, or he must give up his manliness. Okay, he thinks that he had to sacrifice his manliness a little in order to talk to women. Right. Then what next? We could have some arrangement by which I would bind myself to keep hands of anything special you are a mind to name. Then he says that we can have some kind of an arrangement. We could have some kind of an arrangement or some kind of an adjustment by which I would bind myself to keep hands off. So here the keep hands off means not talk about. He already said that he is unable to speak to women folk. Maybe always when he speaks, he offends her. So that's the arrangement. The arrangement is that he will not talk about anything. He will keep hands off. Okay. It means that he will not talk about anything special you are mind to name. So anything special that you don't want me to talk about. Okay, she thinks that her husband doesn't want to talk about something, then he will not talk about that. That's sort of an arrangement they will make between them. That's his suggestion. Okay. Then next he says, though I don't like such things, twixt those that love. Then he thinks that between two people who love, these kinds of things are not good. He doesn't like this arrangement between two people who really love. So if two people are really loving, this sort of an arrangement is not needed. That's what he says. Though, next word, two that don't love. Two people that don't love can't live together without them. So if two people are not loving, they of course need this sorts of an arrangement between them or adjustment between them. Okay, two people who are not loving each other well may need these kinds of arrangements. But two people who are loving, who love each other, can't live together with them. So the such kinds of people cannot live with these kinds of arrangement. That means if if two people love sincerely, they never need these sorts of arrangement. Then at the same time, she moved the latch a little. She's again trying to go. She's trying to get out of the house, and he's pleading with her, don't go, don't carry it to someone else this time. Don't carry these things to someone else. Okay, let's move on. Tell me about it if it is something human. Let me into your grief. I am not so much unlike other folks as you standing there apart would make me out. Give me my chance. I do think, though you overdo it a little. What was it brought you up to think it the thing to take your mother loss of a child, of a first child so inconsolably in the face of love? You would think his memory might be satisfied. Okay, so he's again requesting as much as he can to tell him about her grief. Why is she so distraught? Why is she grieving this much? He wants to know it. So he's telling, he's, pleading. Maybe he's begging with her. Tell me about it. If it is something human. If it's something human, please tell me. If it is something that can be told to a human, please tell me. I am also a human. Let me into your grief. Let me know what's your grief. I am not so much unlike other folks. He is not different from other folks, other people. He is also a man. He's not different. If it is human, please tell me. I am not different. That's what he says. I am not so much unlike other folks as you're standing there apart would make me out. You are standing there. You're standing, downstairs. There is a distance between them now. So it makes him, someone who is, with whom she can share something, share her feelings actually. So he feels like he is left out. He feels like he is disregarded by his wife because she is not telling her feelings to him. Then he's saying that I am also like other people. Maybe you are going to tell the same thing to someone else. That's why you are trying to get out of the house. She is trying to get out of the house, maybe to share her feelings to someone else. So he says that maybe you are going to say your feelings to someone else. And he says that I am also like that person. Please tell me. Okay. Give me my chance. Okay. Please give me a chance at least. I do think. Then he's continuing. Husband is continuing. I do think, though you overdo it a little. You are overdoing it, meaning you are grieving because you have lost your child. But according to him, she has grieved enough. She has mourned enough. That's what he thinks. Now you are, overdoing it. Maybe it's not needed. Okay. And what was it brought you up to think it the thing? To take your mother loss of a first child so inconsolably in the face of love. He says that you have someone. He tells his wife that you have someone who is really sincerely loving you And he says that I'm loving you, Amy, I'm loving you. But when you have someone who is really loves you, still why you have this much grief, something which is inconsolable, which is something that no one can console you. Why? I'm here to love you. You can share all your feelings. So that's why he thinks that she is overdoing it a little bit. Maybe it was enough. So you think his memory might be satisfied. That's his next comment. His memory might be satisfied, actually it's a child. Maybe he thinks that he is putting on a show also. He imagines, he thinks that she has reached the limit. She has just lost a child. He has also lost a child. Okay, the child not only belongs to her, it's also him. So he says that you have reached the limit. Maybe his memory might be satisfied. It's a child. It may not be enough. The child's memory or the child's soul cannot accept more than this. This grief more than this. Then what she says next? Her next comment is that there you go sneering now. Sneering. What is this sneering? It's a kind of mocking talk. It's a kind of mocking. So she thinks like, okay, he is mocking her. He is belittling her feelings, her grief. He cannot understand what she exactly feels like. So, and that's why he says, you are sneering me now. Then he says, oh, I'm not, you are misunderstanding me. Maybe that's what he means. I'm not. You make me angry. He says that he feels he feels like he's losing his control a little bit. You make me angry. I'll come down to you. Maybe he's showing a little bit authority here. I'll come down to you. Okay. And next, God, what a woman. And it's come to this. A man can't speak of his own child that is dead. So he cannot understand this, what sort of a woman it is. Why a man cannot speak of his own child that is dead. Right? This child belongs to him also. Then she says that, no, you can't. You can't talk about it. You can't talk about a child that is dead. Because you don't know how to speak. If you had any feelings, you that dug with your own hand. How could you? His little graves. Yeah, this is what something she can never imagine. What? They lost the child died. Then she says, if you had any feeling, how could you dig that grave, a little grave, his child's little grave with his own hands? How can a man do that? How can a person do that? Maybe for him, this is something that he does usually. But for her, something unconsolable. She can never imagine it. When we lose someone, when our child dies, how can we ourselves dig the grave? Oh my God, that's what she cannot understand. She said, I saw you from that very window there. She saw him from the same window. Now she is looking through. From the same window, she saw this, making the grave a leap and leap in air. Leap up like that and land so lightly and roll back down the mount beside the hole. So she's explaining the way that he was digging this grave. Here, you can see here, she can't accept the fact that he dug the child's grave with his own hand. Okay, the grave will leap and leap in air. when he was throwing this mud or this dirt, right? And there was a mound of mud beside the hole, beside the grave. I thought, who is that man? I didn't know. She couldn't understand. She didn't see. She was not sure who that person was. I thought, who is that man? I didn't know. I did not know. I didn't know. I didn't know it was you. And I crept down the stairs and up the stairs to look again. And still your spade kept lifting. Then she had one more look to make sure whether it is her husband. And still you were digging that same, in the same manner, this grave. Then you came in. Then you stopped. Then you came into the room maybe. I heard your rumbling voice out in the kitchen. Then she heard his voice from the kitchen. And I don't know why, but I went near to see with my own eyes. Then she wanted to make sure it was her husband who dug the grave. So she went down to the kitchen to see for herself with her own eyes. Okay, you can read this. She had watched, two watcheries here. She had watched her child's grave being dug through the window. She's always reminded of it when she walks down the stairs. When she walks down the stairs, she's always reminded of the same thing, her husband digging this grave. She was hurt by the manner in which her husband dug their son's grave. Yeah, maybe he was doing it in a kind of jolly manner, digging his own child's grave. That's what she thought. Maybe he didn't have any kind of jolly or something, but she thought maybe like that. So she didn't like the manner in which he dug his son's grave. She had to look twice to confirm it, actually. It was her husband who was digging it in such a casual way. Okay. You could sit there with the stains on your shoes of the fresh earth from your own baby's grave and talk about your everyday concerns. You had stood the spade up against the wall outside there in the entry, for I saw it. Then, after digging this grave, he came to the kitchen with the stains, with the mud on his shoes of the fresh earth from your own baby's grave. So there is mud on his feet. Okay. And the fresh earth from your own baby's grave. And talk about your everyday concern. Then you are talking very casual way, in a very casual manner, about everyday concerns. There was no, sorrow, no sadness, nothing on your face. He was kind of happy about everything that he was doing. That's what that's what she thinks. Okay, you had stood the spade up against the wall. Then the spade, it is the tool that he used for digging this grave, the spade. So you put the spade against the wall outside there in the entry, and she saw it. I saw it. Okay, she was wondering how he could sit there with stain of mud on his shoes and talk about everyday matters as if nothing had happened. I shall laugh the worst laugh I ever laughed. I'm cursed. God, if I don't believe I'm cursed. Then he is laughing about all these things. He's thinking like she has got some problem. What happened to her? He doesn't understand. I shall laugh. Maybe the worst laugh I ever laughed. What the hell she's talking about? That's what he thinks. He thinks like, oh my God, I am cursed. Why? He is, he's a believer. If he doesn't believe in God, okay, it's okay, no problem. But still, if even though he believes in God, he is cursed. Why? He can't understand. Why should a woman say like that? I can repeat the very word that you were saying. 3 foggy mornings and 1 rainy day will rot the best birch fence a man can build. Think of it. Talk like that at such a time? What had how long it takes a birch to rot to do with what was in the darkened parlor? Then she can remember everything that he was saying. She already said he was talking like in a casual manner. Talk about your everyday concern. You can see. Talk about your everyday concerns. Talking very casually. So now she says what he was saying, what he was talking about. What is it? She can repeat the same word he was talking. He can repeat. She can repeat. This is what he said. 3 foggy mornings and 1 rainy day will rot the best birch fence a man can build. So he was, making some kind of a casual comment about birches or birch fences. There was no sadness or no grief on his face. Right? That's what she thinks. But we readers cannot think like that, I suppose. Maybe both of these two persons have their own way of coping with the pain. He's trying to forget it, and he's trying to cope up with the pain in this manner, talking about casual things. And he's trying to accept the fact that he has lost a child. Right? He has to cope up with it. Okay. He has to cope with this, the fact that he has lost the child. Think of it. And talk like that. So how can you talk like that, and at such a time? How long it takes a birch to rot? How long a birch to rot? To do with what was in the darkened parlor. It's a euphemism. She has used this technique, euphemism, here. Right. What his comment was, how long it takes a birch tree to rot, birch fence to rot. This one and their dead child. The child that is in the darkened parlor means that is in the grave. There is nothing, there is no connection between two these things. Okay, he was not talking about their dead child. That was her that's her complaint. Okay, let's move on. You couldn't care. You couldn't care. The nearest friends can go with anyone to death. Come so far short. They might as well not try to go at all. No, from the time when one is sick to death, one is alone and he dies more alone. Friends make pretense of following to the grave, but before one is in it, their minds are turned and making the best of their way back to life and living people and things they understand. But the world is evil. I won't have grief, so if I can change it. Oh, I won't. So this is her complaint. You couldn't care. Then she says the nearest friends can go with anyone to death. Come so far short. So when somebody is about to die, their nearest friends will be with them, and they may be sometimes telling like, okay, they are also ready to die for them, for their best friends. But here it is not happening. It comes so far short. It means that her husband can't understand and follow her when she is sick with grief. Okay, then they might as well not try to go at all. But what happens nowadays? So she's also making a general comment here. Usually, when somebody's friend is sick and they are about to die, their nearest friends, pretend like, okay, they love them very much and they can even die for them. But actually, they might as well not try to go at all, but they will not go even with the, with the dead person to the graveyard. No, from the time when one is sick to death, one is alone. So what happens is that from the time one is sick to death, one is alone, and he dies more alone. But nobody is there to support or to, to talk about the person who is dead. Here, what she means that she is like, in such a situation. She has lost a son, but he cannot understand her feelings. So she is alone. She is feeling like alone. Friends make pretense of following to the grave, but before one is in it, their minds are turned. So this is she's comparing her situation with someone who is dead. So when someone who is in their deathbed, their friends can make a pretense. They're just pretending that they will be very very sad when they die, and maybe they can go with them to the graveyard. But what happens? That person, the person who is dead, even that person is before in the graveyard, in the grave, their minds are turned and making the best of their way back to life. Then they comes back to the life very easily and living people and things they understand. So they are only talking about or thinking about things that they understand and they are talking about people who are living, not about dead. Maybe it has got double meaning. She is also maybe talking about her own child that is dead. Here the husband is not thinking about it, about the child. The child has dead. Maybe when if the child was alive, suppose, he might talk about the child, but once the child is dead, he is not interested to talk about it. So that is what happens. So if somebody is loving sincerely, it will not happen. That's what she means. This is a second meaning. Okay. But the world is evil. She doesn't like this world. So I won't have grief. So if I can say, the world is, she again making the general statement, the world is evil. And she will not have this much grief if she is able to change the world, but she is unable to change it. Oh, I want. Okay. Okay, next stanza. This is actually the last stanza also, last part. There you have said it all, and you feel better. You won't go now. You are crying. Close the door. The heart's gone out of it. Why keep it up? Amy, there is someone coming down the road. So here, he thinks that she must feel better now because she has said everything. And now he is asking her to close the door because someone is coming down the road. Someone is coming. So he might see her crying. Okay. It's not going to be good. So he's thinking like, okay, she has got enough time. Then she has said everything. Okay, maybe her heart has gone out. Everything is there. So she might have been relieved now. That's what he imagines. Then what's her comment? Oh, you think the talk is all? I must go? This is what you think? Somewhere out of this house? How can I make you? So here she stops. Maybe she's saying like, how can I make you, understand what I feels? How can I make you understand about my feelings? This may be something she is trying to say. So here she is accusing him. She's accusing him of thinking that the talk is over. She wants to go somewhere out of the house. She feels like she's trapped. She thinks, I must go somewhere out of this house. Then the last 3 lines. If you go. At the same time, she was opening the door wider. Where do you mean to go? He's asking, where do you want to go if you go? First, tell me that. Then I will follow and bring you back by force. I will. Right? The poem ends with his threatening remark. He's kind of threatening her. Where do you want to go? Wherever you go, please tell me. I will follow and bring you back by force. Well, the power of man is also shown here. Wherever she goes, he can take her back home again. Then he says, I will do it. Okay, this is the conclusion. This is where the poem ends. Okay, so it is very much, clear that there is something serious about their relationship. Both of them cannot understand each other's feelings. Anyway, one thing is sure, their marriage is also dead, and their relationship also has been buried after their child's death. That's what we can understand. And actually the poem does not favor one grieving or process over the other, but it does really captures how the couple's inability to recognize or respect or empathize with their partner's individual response to the tragic loss of their child. They are unable to understand each other. Okay, both of them have got different ways to cope with the pain. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.